My name is Brian Mattmiller, and my wife and I have been coming to Yosemite Church for 4.5 years now. I think all my life I've believed in God. I knew there was a God, and I prayed to Him every night, but lived each day as I wanted to live it. You know, each day was mine, and at night I would come to God and pray. I come from a blended family. My dad divorced my mom when I was about 3 years old. My mom was an alcoholic, and it was my dad, my brother, and myself living on our own for a year and a half, I would say. My dad then met a lady who had a son of her own, and they got married. And I thought, you know, here's my new family. This is going to be good. Very soon I began to realize my stepmom was very unloving towards myself and my brother. She was physically abusive, verbally abusive. I remember I was probably 6 or 7, and she was holding her son on her lap, and they were crying, and I walked up to him and said, "Why are you crying?" And she kicked me in my stomach, kicked me back against the TV. Just very unloving, very mean. My stepbrother was no different. Seemed like a daily thing. He would beat me up, intimidate me. I would go to my dad for help. I would tell him what my stepmom was doing, what my stepbrother was doing. He would kind of brush me off. You know, he would say things like, "Oh, I bet that hurt," or "What did you do to deserve that?" I felt my dad, who's supposed to protect me, was not protecting me. He was very distracted. Just my childhood, just no love for my dad. My mom was gone. And a stepmom who was just abusive. I felt I had no worth. I began searching for attention and love in different ways. If I did well in sports, I would get the love and adoration and appreciation of others. I was always the class clown, trying to make people laugh to get their approval. If a girl liked me or loved me, I felt good about myself. From an early age, I had a fantasy of being an actor. I felt, you know, if I was an actor and I was on the big screen, people would look at me and adore me. People would love me. People would want to be around me. I felt the attention that I would get would give me a feeling of self-worth, of value. I was of value to people. And that made me feel good. As I got older and the void was still there inside of me, I began asking questions about God. I've talked to the Mormons who came to where I work, Jehovah's Witnesses, and I was fortunate enough that where I worked there were Christians who worked there, and I would talk to them daily, ask questions about God. They would answer my questions, give me advice, talk to me about God. I was given a Bible, I was given a daily devotional book, and I was reading those and tried to read the Bible, but it was the King James Version, so I got lost. And one day this coworker and I, she's a very sweet lady, older lady who you could see loves Christ just in the way she was at work and her attitude. And she asked me one day if I wanted to accept Christ into my heart. And I said yes. And that day I prayed with all my heart and soul to have Christ come into my life. And the feeling of joy and peace and mercy and love that I felt from accepting Christ filled that void that was with me all my life. Well, my wife and I started coming to church regularly. I just started discovering God's character. Then my wife and I started attending a couples group. Doing it together has brought my wife and I closer together. We're bringing God into the center of our marriage. I feel a better father. He's given me 3 beautiful children who I want to grow up and I want them to know Christ. I discovered a men's group where I can talk with other men openly, my fears, my insecurities, my faith. In attending church regularly is where I began to understand God's character of love and grace. So I'm ready to take the next steps. I'm ready to surrender. I'm excited about surrendering to God, because I know whatever God has in store for me is far better than anything I personally had in store for myself. I'm excited about letting God write and direct and produce and be the main star of His movie for me. I'm ready to be a supporting role in His movie, and that excites me.